Hi guys, it's Stacey here from TycoonFactory.com, and in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about franchises. So you might be wondering, what is a franchise? Well, a franchise is a business opportunity that you can basically purchase. So for example, a lot of McDonald's restaurants are franchises where you would pay a fee and in return you would receive a business in a box, a business package. Quite a lot of the time you'd need to find your own premises and things if it is a business that requires that, but quite often you'll receive support from the company to do that. So you might be wondering how they differ from starting your own business. Well, there's quite a lot of positives that go with purchasing a franchise, and these obviously include the brand being the primary one. So McDonald's is obviously a huge name. If you were to buy into a McDonald's franchise, you are kind of accelerating your success because it's got such a huge brand name behind it and people already like to eat there. So you can see that the benefits behind kind of buying a franchise as opposed to starting your own business, because when you start your own business, you're starting completely from scratch. So you're going to struggle in the beginning anyway to kind of get your brand out there, get known, get people talking about your brand. Whereas when you purchase a franchise, you've already got that there. One of the other main benefits of purchasing a franchise as opposed to starting your own business is the support that you get from the company. So if they are a good franchise, they will support you in finding the right premises, hiring the right staff, they'll do training with you. So you're getting a whole load of support there. But also when you purchase a franchise, most of the time you've got systems already in place. So they'll literally send you their operating systems and you'll apply that to your new business. Now, obviously the power of this is that these are systems that have been tested time and time again, and so you know that they work. Whereas when you start your own business, it can be quite difficult sometimes to get systems in place. And if you're not familiar with what a business system is, it can be anything from, let's take the restaurant example, it can be anything from how they cook the food and get it out in time so it's still warm, to administrative systems, so how they file things. And when you purchase a franchise, all of this is already in place for you. So literally all you've got to do is implement it. There's no testing done, anything like that. Now, that being said, there are some negatives to purchasing a franchise as well. One of the huge negatives is the cost. Now, some people would see this actually not so much as a negative. But I think when you're paying, some of the franchises are a huge amount of money, and when you're paying a huge amount of money for something like that, obviously you get what you pay for. I mean, you're going to get the unbelievable support and the systems in place and the brand name. However, that's money that you could also invest into having your own brand or starting your own business. And obviously it's going to take you longer to have success with your own brand. However, you know, some of these franchises are very, very costly, and I've known quite a few people who've actually got into debt in order to purchase these franchises and then found that they're not actually as lucrative as they thought they were going to be. So I guess if you're going to go down that route, one of the main pieces of advice I can give you is to do your research. How long's the company been going? Have they got any statistics that you can look at for their new franchises? How long it takes for a new franchise to get up and running? And obviously, I made a video previously about whether or not you should ever take out a business loan. And my personal opinion is no if it's a new startup. But if you are going to go down that route and take out a business to start a new franchise, then you need to kind of look into how long it's going to take you to pay that business loan back, and how long it's going to take for the business to be generating enough income that you can pay the monthly payments back on that loan. To me as well, with franchises, you've got a very restricted kind of amount of niches that you can go into. Obviously, if you start your own business, you can start in any area that you choose. When you purchase a franchise, there's not always going to be a franchise available within that niche. So it may be that you end up in a business that you never initially intended to be in or don't have a lot of interest in. So that's something to consider. I also feel with franchises is that you're a little bit stuck in the sense that if you decide that you want to grow, quite often the only way forward will be to purchase another franchise. It's not like if you've got your own store where you could open a chain of them. So I think sometimes that can be a little bit difficult, and that is varying dependent on the actual franchise itself, because I know that some franchises will allow you to open second stores and things like that. So that does vary from franchise to franchise. So again, be careful that you do your research and that it's going to fit in with your long-term plan. The other thing to consider is that some franchises actually take a percentage of your revenue. So they might have a lower startup fee, but they might take a percentage of your revenue for so many years, or even for permanently. So just bear that in mind when you do kind of come to look at franchises and which one you might be interested in going into. I also, this can be a good thing and a bad thing, because like I say, franchises systems are usually tested and very successful, but you are limited to what you can do in your own business. So for example, some franchises will only allow you to put out advertising that's been pre-approved by them, so you can't necessarily choose your own advertising. So there are some limits there as well. So what's best? My personal preference, I think, would always be to start my own business. And that's purely just because of the fact that I would like to have full creative control of what goes on in my business. Now, for some people, that's not always the best way forward. I mean, some people aren't necessarily very imaginative, or some people don't have the drive or the vision, and in which case a franchise might be a good option for you. But it's worth kind of having a look at the options and weighing up what's best for you in your personal situation, because what's good for me won't always be good for you. So yeah, have a look at the franchises that's available. I have included a link to a site that actually sells franchises that are currently available. And you can kind of get a feel for what kind of offers are available, what kind of franchises in what niches are around, and you can start and get an idea anyway of what these companies are about. My kind of personal preference, I guess, would always be to start your own business. But what's interesting to look at with these franchises, and it's something I find myself doing, is basically those people at the top of the ladder, those people who are franchising out their business, those are the people that are doing really well. So, you know, if you do start your own business and you are going into kind of a physical type business rather than an online business, you could actually franchise that out yourself as you got kind of further down the line, more experienced, you've got systems in place, you could realistically train somebody in doing what you've already done and teaching them to be successful. So it's kind of interesting to also look at the flip side of that, but that's kind of my reasoning behind liking to kind of look at franchises. Now, I've never ever purchased a franchise, so this is completely kind of from my research, that what I'm talking about today. But I just thought it'd be an interesting video to make, because there's a lot of people aren't sure which way to go and which direction to go as to whether to kind of buy a franchise or start an online business. And I've looked at franchises in the past, and I actually got offered one at one point and decided not to go in on it, and I started my own business instead. And that's always going to be my preference, but like I said, that's not for everybody, and I thought I'd make this video because I thought it'd be quite an interesting one to make. So I hope you've enjoyed, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I've got loads of good content coming out over the next few weeks, and don't forget to like us on Facebook, Twitter. I'll include the links in the description, and I shall see you soon.